here. There we go. 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mayor Mike, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. I'm back from vacation. Always like to start off the first next run after vacation with a good chat. So welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me back. You know, I gotta ask you a question, Michael,
Sure.
before we get started. When we talk about Mayor's Monday and Monday in general, musically, what song comes to mind? Is it Monday, Monday by the Mamas and the Papas? Rainy Days and Mondays Always Bring Me Down? Or Elvis Costello, maybe, I Don't Like Mondays? Is there anything that jumps out at you? Because it's usually the Mamas and the Papas for me.
Mom, I can see that. You forget, I was an oldies radio, an oldies jock for, about 22 months or so. I'm familiar with some of those references.
I gotta tell you, I am an oldie, so
I'm gonna surprise you. I'm gonna go Ashley Simpson, Pieces of Me.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
On a Monday, I'm waiting. By Tuesday, I'm failing, and by Wednesday, I can't sleep.
See, I would have given you a Bengals sort of guy.
That's usually how this goes. I email your secretary on Monday. On Tuesday, I wait. By Wednesday, I don't hear back.
Okay. And then I get it. Sure. Yeah. I guess that's very appropriate.
No, nothing against Sandy. Sandy's great. But yes, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to throw a curveball there. You were not expecting that.
No, I certainly wasn't. And I couldn't pick Ashley Simpson out of a crowd. So
there's a reason for that. Look her up on
you
Saturday.
You mentioned Sandy. That's one thing we hadn't talked about.
About 2 weeks
ago, the United Way recognized. Yeah, Sandy got recognized as the United Way campaign coordinator of the year. So congratulations, Sandy Frosh.
Absolutely. Coordinator of the year. And in fact, she that was a pretty big deal for your office. I know you had released a statement saying you're glad to have her on staff and things like that. And of course, all that community involvement is something that you're big on as well. Absolutely. So what do you want to talk about today? What do we not have to talk about? First thing I want to ask you, I know, and you haven't released a statement on this yet, so I guess, we can call this an exclusive. I usually say things tongue in cheek here, but we do want to, first off, kind of get serious for a moment here, because what's going on in Eastern Europe is absolutely horrific. We have a sovereign nation that is being invaded, and we're seeing conflicting reports of death tolls, and this has been very costly, very hard on a lot of people. Obviously, the UW system educates Ukrainians as well. They came out with a statement of support of Ukraine. You have a partnership with a city in Russia, Rostov-on-Don. What is the status of that right now? Are you talking with people in Russia and maybe plans to, quote unquote, cancel that? What is the status of that right now?
So no, there's absolutely no intention of canceling that relationship. As a matter of fact, that whole sister city partnership was put together in the peak of the Cold War to support the people. And that's what it is. The people of Russia aren't invading the Ukraine, which is a devastating and deplorable act by those in power in Russia and their military. But you see on the streets of Russia, the protesters are being arrested, shoved in carts, and shuffled off. This is a non-political organization. It's not involving trade or the economy, very far away from political and military organizations. This is people relationships. Our thoughts and prayers, first and foremost, are with the people of Ukraine. But secondly, with the people of Rostov-on-Don in our sister city, because I know those people, I've talked to those people. I guarantee you that there's not the support by the citizens of Russia that the leadership would have you believe. No more than it has been in our country. It's been pretty divisive here for the last, let's call it 6 or 7 years. No, there's absolutely no intention of doing that. They need our support now more than ever, to show that the rest of the world is in opposition to what the leadership and military in Russia is doing.
Yeah, just like those residents that you mentioned that have been gathering in protest of the invasion of Ukraine are opposed to it as well. You're in support. You're kind of gathered as one in your opposition to what's going on right now.
Absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt. And I don't know that any of our friends in Russia listen to you. Maybe they do, but I want them to know that our thoughts and prayers are with them, along with the people of Ukraine.
Yeah, indeed. And it's something that the whole world is going to be watching. We could be, for years, maybe even decades to come right now. And that's a situation that, again, we want to give our full support to the people of Ukraine. And as you mentioned, those who are protesting in Russia and who we don't know what's going to happen to them because they are in opposition of their government right now.
Right. We want to make sure too that we give our thoughts and support for those people who may be abroad and have family and friends in the Ukraine, because it's got to be devastating to see the things that are happening on TV and to know that there's very little that we can personally do about it except show our support and be ready.
Indeed. A little closer to home, you've got this is a great proposal that you've got on the table right now for electric vehicle charging stations. I haven't heard of anything. Well, I've heard of electric vehicles, obviously, but I haven't heard of anything like what you're going to be proposing here over the next couple of months in Stevens Point. Tell us how you want to build up that infrastructure in the city and what's kind of led to this discussion.
Absolutely. So we're going to start out by saying you've all seen the little slot cars, right? Those are electric cars. And we figure we've got enough potholes where we can put a slot on the front of cars and run electricity down. No, this actually came as an idea from Lynn Markham, who served with the city council on me. I think she still works at the university, but she saw an article where there was a TV station trying to get an electric vehicle from Milwaukee to Madison to Point and back to Milwaukee. And there were some challenges. We're a long way from electric vehicles being commonplace. Mm-hmm. If you watch Back to the Future, of course, our vehicles should be flying by now. That just doesn't happen. And it occurred to me that with the challenges that this news article showed, first of all, it didn't show all of the charging ability in Stevens Point. There were only 2 that were listed. We have public charging stations and private charging stations, and some of those weren't even listed. But it kind of got me thinking that, boy, we really want to be on the front edge of this. Not just because we're a community that's been a green tier legacy community since I've been mayor, not because we're an eco municipality, but all of those things come into play. We have been very proactive in trying to reduce our carbon footprint. We're cognizant of climate change and the effect that it's having on not only our community, but the world around us. And we want to do the right thing for the planet as a community. Electric vehicles are really a part of that, alternative fuel sources. And I want to be on the front edge of this. I want to be leading this movement by example. So we are introducing a policy at the Plan Commission tonight that any new development within the city that seeks municipal incentives is going to be required to put in EV infrastructure, charging stations and so forth. And of course, that's all going to be scalable based on the size of the development. But that proposal is coming to Plan Commission tonight and then subsequently to council over the next couple of weeks. That's one piece of it. The other piece is I've been in contact with Senator Tammy Baldwin's office in regards to the federal infrastructure bill, which has a segment of that put aside for EV infrastructure grants, which would allow the city of Stevens Point to have some better electric vehicle infrastructure, superchargers, for example, or rapid charging stations where people will, it makes sense because we're on the main north-south highway 39 and the main east-west highway 10. So we're a great location for anybody who's traveling through or to Stevens Point in central Wisconsin. So we want to make sure that we have the best infrastructure we can. And economically, it's a benefit because when those people are looking and planning their routes, they're going to stop in Stevens Point. They're going to grab a meal. They're going to do some shopping. If there's infrastructure is in place and it's good infrastructure, they'll come here. Even if they're passing through to somewhere else, east, west, north, south. I want us to be on the lead of EV infrastructure. So you'll see things over the next couple of months. As a matter of fact, I was working with Landutis Motors. You probably remember the Stevens Point, USA.
Of course.
Mike is very much on board. We're looking at potentially leasing or somehow sharing responsibility for some electric vehicles for city staff, for our inspection department, for example, that just do inspections locally within the city. Electric vehicles and the technology is advanced enough where I think it would be a big benefit for us. Not only that, it again leads by example. We're reducing our carbon footprint and our reliance on fossil fuels. And of course, everybody's seen the gas prices. So, it makes economical sense to do this too, not just because it's a good thing and it's the right thing to do for the planet, but it'll save us money.
And a lot of people might look at this and say, well, you're telling the developer what to do. It's city interfering in something like this. My question on this would be, if you're requiring, say, an apartment complex to have 6 charging stations, that could be something that potential residents might want. Not everybody may have a Tesla, but there may be 2 people that would have one. And then all of a sudden that becomes a viable option for them. If for their rent, they can also get a charge on their Tesla once or twice a week.
Exactly. So it's not really telling the developers what they can do any more than we do now. We already require residential developments for apartments and things to have bicycle parking. We already tell our developers that they have to build within a certain distance to the street, or have sidewalk infrastructure, or specific colors in some cases, or specific materials for fencing or siding. All of these things already come into play. This is just one more component. And I honestly don't believe it's going to create any hardships for our developers, because it's only for those seeking city incentive. If you want to come here, Michael, and build something on your own, we're not going to require you to do that. We will still strongly encourage you to do that, but we won't require it. It will be required starting out if you get taxpayer incentive. And that's where the policy is going to start, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And as you mentioned, the ease of access for Stevens Point, I'd remind you that US 10 goes all the way into the Twin Cities as well. So for people that are passing through, and again, they just need that 15-minute charge up, they could be coming all the way out of the Twin Cities, and then all of a sudden something in Stevens Point is on their map.
And I got to tell you, from the other way, Michael, if you're going south on I-39, Business 51 in Memphis, Tennessee, is Elvis Presley Boulevard.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So yeah, it's a very, very well connected area. And again, it's something that I'm interested in, and something that I'm sure a lot of other mayors that are watching this are definitely going to be interested in, especially as you mentioned, electric vehicles become more and more commonplace across the country. Last thing we wanted to ask you about then before we let you go, we talked earlier about being active in the community, things like that. You got a lot of big fundraisers that are coming up. No reason to go hungry in Stevens Point this weekend, especially Saturday, with some community fundraisers that the city's not sponsoring them, but I'm sure nobody would be surprised to see you show up and take part.
No, I got to tell you, Michael, before I became mayor, I weighed 127 pounds. It's every fundraiser that we go to.
Wait. Is this a fish story here, that the further away we get from your time on the city council, the smaller the Wiza becomes?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Okay.
No, there's a lot of things going on. I think I told you earlier before we started recording that I tapped our maple trees. So that's all done. That's a big deal in central Wisconsin. I know a lot of people that do that privately. And as a business, Tap Maple Syrup is a great local company that does all sorts of infused syrups. But to use that syrup, you need pancakes. And the Spash Trap team, my niece Morgan is on the team, and they're having a fundraiser at the Moose Lodge this coming Saturday. All you can eat regular pancakes and potato pancakes. Now, potato pancake is kind of a very Midwestern thing too.
Oh yeah.
But we'll have lots of syrup there, and you can get tickets at the door. They also have Prime Water Anglers is having their annual dinner. Prime Water Anglers is a fishing club, but they've been very active in creating amenities in the city, fishing piers, docks. They've repoured all of the boat landings. They're very, very active in the community, and they're having their annual banquet at Rookies on Saturday night. You can get tickets there as well. And then finally, there's a sorority at UWSP who's putting on what they call the Purple Gala. And the Purple Gala is just an evening of hors d'oeuvres, and it's a fundraiser to donate money for cancer awareness and cancer research. So those are the things that are going on, and that's just Saturday.
Exactly.
Tons of stuff going on in the city. And well, not Saturday, but by spring, I hope we're going to have these open by June 1st. If you want to stay active, wear off some of those pancakes or the appetizers or any of the other food items that are up for those fundraisers. We are going to have our first dedicated pickleball courts, and I'll say central Wisconsin, south of Wausau.
Sure.
Because Mayor Katie's got some pickleball courts up in Wausau, but we're going to have 6 dedicated pickleball courts. The Plan Commission approved it last Wednesday, not Plan, Parks Commission approved it last Wednesday. I fully expect the City Council to approve it on the 21st. And by June 1st, we should have 6 dedicated pickleball courts in the city of Stevens Point at Mead Park.
Mayor Katie has played Governor Evers in pickleball.
She also played Mayor Wiza and kicked his butt. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to practice a little bit better and then invite her down for a rematch, and maybe I'll have a chance.
So, but you're not going to take on Governor Evers just yet, then? You're not ready for that level.
He beat Mayor Katie. So I would be in a sore spot if I were to challenge the champion of pickleball at this point. I mean, give me some time to practice. Maybe August, September, I will be of the caliber to invite the governor up for a challenge.
I am writing that down right now. August. Ask about pickleball.
Sure.
All right. There we go. Oh, Mayor Wiza, we always appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to chatting again next month.
I appreciate it. See ya.